So it means I can enjoy the privileges of God here on earth. And with that mindset change, you now enjoy the benefits of opportunities. If you don't see yourself that you've been created by God to dominate over all the things he has created, you'll be lost. I don't know if you get it. When you encounter other people from other religions, you realize that because they understand who they are, they get to enjoy the benefits of whatever practice they are in. But for us believers, it's like, oh, yamebe, and then you leave it. But if you now see yourself as created specially by God to enjoy of these opportunities, you tend to act differently. And there's something that Apostle said in one of his sermons that really touched me. He was like, angels and heavenly bodies watch us to now understand who God is in terms of his creation. And I was like, wow. And then even the one that hits me the most is that we're not created with any special mineral, just dust. So why are heavenly bodies that we really want to encounter now watching us to understand God's mysterious self, right? So if you get yourself in that mindset, you can now fully enjoy the divine opportunities. I want to come from the perspective of creation first, yes, and then we move into the opportunities itself.
Thank you so much. Okay. So the question is, how does divine opportunities align with who God has created us to be, and why is it even important to make that connection?
Yeah, I think like Chris said, it's important to understand our authority as believers of Christ. I like to see it as being, okay, first of all, our destinies are not just random. You didn't just come on earth and then decide what you're going to do. It was already decided before you were even formed, right? There's a book that was written about you in heaven way before anybody even thought to give birth to you. So when you get onto this earth and you realize that, okay, this is who I'm following. I'm living for Christ. I'm living for God. And you start to obey the instructions, your destiny begins to unravel. You begin to realize who you are, what you're supposed to do. Like there's a gradual, step-by-step unveiling of what the grand scheme of things is. And you only reach that point when you start to obey God's instructions, when you align with what his will and purpose is for your life, is when the unraveling starts to happen. So I put it this way. It's that our destinies are not random. They are a continuous unfolding of obedience. And it's very important to obey.
All right. I really like your submissions, right? You make it sound like opportunities are not just coincidences, right? These opportunities are just like pieces of your identity actually coming together. And so there's this example of the Israelites circling around the circle and around the mountain, and God goes like, okay, get up, guys. Let us actually go into the victory that I have promised you when it comes to the promised land, right? And so these opportunities, when it comes to aligning to our identity, are the tiny pieces of our lives coming together, and they're not just random coincidences, right? And so now my question is, I mean, we are a very practical church, you know, so what are the practical steps a believer can put in place to prepare themselves for seizing their opportunities? Yeah.
Shall I go first? Right. So I think, Chris, on your last point, you mentioned that it's important to be doing. So that's the first thing. You have to practice before you get to the point of being noticed for your gift and it being magnified. You have to practice, because practice makes perfect. You have to hone your skills. You have to make sure that you're actually practicing, you're using your talents, and you're growing them. You have to be spiritually awake as well. You have to have an intimate relationship with the Holy Spirit, with God, and He will let you know when to move, what to do. It's very important that. And also staying obedient. You have to, you can't despise your small beginnings. You can't but you have to be obedient in taking those tiny steps. That they may look just tiny to you, but they are actually preparing you. It's part of the process to get to that point of realizing the next stage of your destiny, because our destinies are, they keep going until we're gone. Yeah.
Mostly you say she has said it all, but I think I just want to take it from the perspective of you cannot be lazy as a believer, to be honest, right? Because most of the time we are like, hey, God has told me that I'll be the next billionaire or the next president. And Apostle cracked a joke the other time that you cannot be a president in your mind. You need to take a step, right? A lot of us say, I have a vision, but you don't actually take the steps to achieve those things. You have a business idea. Do you have a strategy? What are the plans? What do you want to do next to achieve the things you need to achieve? But for me, I'll be a little biased. I just think that in practicing, the best place to practice is through service in the house of God, right? In your position of service or posture of service, you get to now identify lots of things about yourself that you can even now use way better. I don't know if I'm making sense. And one of my mentors told me a story of one of Ghana's biggest content creators who was a server at church. And he didn't have a job at the time, right? And this man would always take pictures of people after church, videos, so they can post on their status. And his mother-in-law told him that, like, what you are doing is a unique opportunity for you. Like, it's huge. And you're not seeing it. And you're always asking for a job. You know what? I'll take you around for parties, and then let's see what happens. So he took him to the first party. He did it. Everybody liked it. And she started introducing him to other people. And now, when everyone is doing their wedding, birthday parties, they cannot invite, they have to invite him, or else your party is not a party. And that was through just the church, right? So if you have a gift, be it singing or anything, serving here changes everything for you, right? So that's what I really want to let people understand, that practice here in church too, and that can change everything too.
I really like your point on serving in the church. I think it ties in nicely with V's point of not really waiting for the big moments. Don't necessarily wait for the big unveiling, because opportunities show up in the mundane moments as well. It's not just the grand unveiling of stuff. So I really do like how the points tie into each other. And I think to just wrap this up in a nice bow, can we talk about some of the hindrances that stop us from accessing our divine opportunities as children of God?
All right, I'll go first. Okay, so first of all, one of the things that we've learned over the last month is that hindrances is not just a physical thing. There's a spirit of hindrance. You may see yourself as, I just like to sleep a lot. No, something is just causing that to be your disposition. You may have this just crippling fear of taking certain steps in life. It's not just you being a scaredy cat. No, there's a spirit behind it. And once you realize that there's something that's stopping you from taking the steps that you need to take to do something about your life, to unravel your destiny, what you need to do, obviously, is deal with that spirit, deal with the spirit of hindrance, which causes fear. It can cause you to be disobedient to those that have instructed you, the people of authority in your life. It could cause you to have, emotional imbalances that cause you to lose out on opportunities. It could cause you to be prideful. All these things come in the way when it comes to realizing your destiny. Like, all these things they're stumbling blocks, they're hindrances. And once you realize that there's a certain pattern of, this is the way it seems to be in my life, everything that comes to me seems to be taken away from me because of these issues, you have to stand up to it. You have to stand up and pray and get into some serious spiritual warfare and deal with that demon. Yeah.
Deal with that demon. Chris.
My turn, right? I think for me, apart from unrighteousness, anger, I think one main thing is the words you speak, right? And I like to give a lot of examples, I'm sorry. But I was listening to a message, and the man of God says that during pregnancy, right, a lot of the words you speak determine how your child acts when they are born.
Yeah.
And he gave a very, I think it's a crazy example. So he was like, a lady went to the hospital and they told her, oh, she would have a baby boy. And she was disappointed because she really wanted a baby girl. So she was like, I wish I had a girl, I wish I had a girl, I wish I had a girl. And when she gave birth to a boy, but the guy was acting like a girl and turned to be gay after, right? And he did a lot of research and showed that the words you speak about your child actually comes forth when they are born in that season. And that is one of the main reasons why we are missing out on a lot of opportunities. Because a lot of us say terrible things during our sad and down moments. And that is a big hindrance. I don't know if I'm making sense. The other one is the lack of practice, right? You hear so many amazing words of God from here, but we don't put it into practice. Like, you hear how to hear from God, you hear how to see, how to prophesy. How many of us have even prophesied to our friends on a regular day? Like, on Monday to Sunday, we hardly do that. And one of the stories that stuck with me was I have a very good friend of mine who, when we were in university, for her to practice how she hears from God, every time we close from school, she walks blinded from the gate to her room every day, just so she can hear from God. And the first 3 tries, she always hits a bar so she falls down. That was a big hindrance, but you have to keep going. And she kept pushing. And now she's really good. Like, she can walk blindfolded straight to wherever she wants to because she believes that the Holy Spirit is speaking to her. And that's one thing that I feel like a lot of us don't do here, because we hear so many things and then we just take them and close our books and go home. But if you practice the little things we hear, when a bigger situation comes, you don't just fall back and give up, right? So these are the things I think causes a lot of hindrance when it comes to attaining what divine opportunities God has given us throughout the year and months. Yeah.
I think I really like the sort of bringing us back to life is spiritual. As a child of God is spiritual. Don't let the hindrances be a validation sort of thing. Like, oh, yeah, I just go through that. Right? I really like that because as a Christian, you must always have that at the back of your mind. And then with Chris talking about his example where the girl hits the bus, most of us would usually stop at failure, would sort of like be afraid of the failure and stop there. And I think that's one of the biggest hindrances. But you keep moving as a Christian, even in the face of failure. Honestly, this has been like a very well-cooked dinner. I'm full, honestly. And this makes me more excited for the service today. And thank you to our wonderful panel. And I feel like for our audience in-house and online, this is just a good moment to just reflect on, seriously, what divine opportunity might God be highlighting in my life right now? It's just a good moment to just pause and think about it with all the knowledge that has been shared with us here today. And I think now that we've moved from this theme of divine opportunities, God has equipped us with the grace to move into these opportunities. November presents us with a theme of walking in the fear of God, and that's so important because when you get the opportunities, how do you make sure that you're aligned with God? And so now I'm so excited for what you're going to be learning in the month of November, and we'll catch you guys same time next month talking about walking in the fear of God. Please enjoy the service, and God bless you.